Hi guys, so I have been wearing the Bahé Revive for since the spring, so around about 6 months now. I wear them mostly for walking. I've been out in a couple of runs in them, and yeah, they're nice and muddy for this review. So I'm going to go through all of the different aspects of the shoe, talk about the grounded nature of them, talk about the sizing, and just sort of how I feel they have fared so far. So Bahé is a really interesting company because they are all about reconnecting to nature. I've worn barefoot shoes, and I did think the one thing that was missing was the fact they weren't grounded, because you're so close to the ground but you're not actually connecting to the ions in the ground and giving yourself the benefits of grounding. So when Bahé followed me on Instagram, I did think this is actually a really good idea, and I reached out to them and they have sent me a free pair. So that's the caveat, is that this pair was free. So my opinion could be biased for the fact that I didn't actually pay for these shoes, but other than that I've not been asked for any specific positive opinion or anything. So I'm going to go through all of the components of the shoe now. So we'll start from the bottom up. The outsole has a conductive membrane in it, so going on to the midsole, which then connects to, so the insole and the midsole have, you can't, there you go, you can just about see, have a conductive thread going through it, so that you're conductive. So that's how these are grounding. And I haven't tried scientifically, I haven't held an ammeter or anything to see if the voltage changes through my body when I'm wearing them and when I'm not. But yeah, so the outsole has a conductive membrane in it, and it's called the ground flow system, and the outsoles are percentage made of recycled material. So the grip's really good. I've had no qualms with the grip whatsoever, and as you can see, I was being on really muddy surfaces recently because the weather in the UK has just absolutely decreased in quality over the last week or so. So the only thing that I can see is there is a tiny bit of wear on the forefoot. So I haven't worn them that much running at all, literally like 2 runs. And the midfoot, there's hardly any signs of wear as well, and my feet don't feel fatigued at all, even if I'm out for like hours on walks. So yeah, the grip's good. And then going on to the midsole, so there's minimal padding, and these are really good for being an intermediary between zero drop, going down from things like Ultras where you've got zero drop maximalist shoes, going down into something that is more minimalist but still gives you some cushioning. So I thought they would be really good for walking to my classes, because I used to live quite close to where I teach my classes, and wearing them for active recovery, dog walks, that kind of thing, they really suit me. I wasn't actually going to wear them for running, it wasn't the idea that I had in my head, so I haven't really specifically tested them for running, so I wouldn't say this review is specifically for that. But yeah, so the midsole there's enough there for comfort, especially because I felt like when I wore barefoot shoes and I was walking on the bobbly bits that you have just as you go off a pavement, that I'd feel those on my feet sometimes, and then it would hurt my foot for the rest of the walk. And I think when my feet were fatigued from doing lots of running, then wearing the barefoot shoes just felt like it was the wrong thing to do. So yeah, that's been a big thing for these, and I honestly wear them for everything, which I will try and touch on at the end. But the bumper here goes up to the end, there's literally no signs of wear on the midsole or the outsole or the upper. Like sometimes you can see a bit of wear where the shoe connects to the upper. See if this one's less muddy. So that one's a bit less muddy. You can see there's no sign of wear, and you can see there's no crease, and with minimalist shoes there's more likely to be a wear on the crease. And I know that some other brands there is a bigger issue when it comes to the crease, but you can see even when I press down it's not coming off the upper or anything. So yeah, then we come to the upper, and it's quite cushioned around the ankle, and there is a heel counter but there's no support there, so you can feel it, but there's no actual cup there to hold your foot in place. And then the tongue's quite padded. The outer, there's, I'd say, at least 2 layers to the upper, where when I've had wet feet, I haven't felt like they were sodden or heavier or anything, but they do take a little while to dry. But it's just a case of not wearing them for a few hours and they dry. I've not had to put them on a radiator or anything like that specifically. And so the laces was the only thing that I thought of that I was like, I don't really like this. When I first got them, they are cotton. They're a mix of cotton, they're sustainable, that's the whole point, they're biodegradable and sustainable, and I'm so used to having synthetic laces, especially on active shoes, that I was like, this is weird. But when they get wet, they don't get sodden, they don't affect me in any way, in the way that I was worried they would. So yeah, that's really good. And there's no sign of wear on the eyelets at all. So you can see there's no sign of wear from where I've been tightening them up. And the fit of the shoe and the stepping comfort, it's absolutely great. There's no problem. I don't feel like my foot's in the wrong place or anything. And the cool thing with the way that they've made them is that you can take the insole out and go with just the I don't even know what the word is, underneath of the insole. You can take the insole out and have the shoe that way, and you have even more space if you want something a bit more roomy. And as you get used to barefoot shoes, you sometimes do. So if you've been wearing barefoot shoes for ages, take the insole out, see how it feels. I took the insole out and I wasn't too keen. I was happy with the fit that I had around the forefoot, because I do have a really low volume foot. So it's, yeah, I'm happy with the insole in. But yeah, like they're very lightweight as well, so there's no qualms there really when it comes to sort of looking at the longevity of them. And there's no, the cool thing is, when you think of barefoot shoes and you think of normal shoes, if I looked at the wear pattern of the shoe after wearing it for 6 months on a shoe that I've been wearing that's got cushioning, all of the wear would be on the outside of the heel, and there'd be minimal wear on the forefoot. And the interesting thing here is I can see wear on the forefoot of the shoe, which shows that my foot strike is becoming more neutral because of the fact that there isn't too much cushioning here. And if you're a real stickler for things like grounding and those gains that you can get from being connected to the earth, they're just an absolute no-brainer. They're the only people who make these in the UK, as far as I'm concerned. They also have a sandal out and a non-zero drop shoe, so if you're not used to zero drop, you can try their other shoe. I can link that below, and I also have a link to a discount as well, so I'll link that in the description. But yeah, they are a great shoe, and I really recommend them for people who are quite minimalist, because I literally can wear them for everything. I wore these to my friend's leaving party wearing a dress because they were the only shoes I had at the time, and I didn't feel like I looked too out of place. But yeah, if you're the kind of person who wears the same thing for everything, I would say definitely get them, because I can wipe these down now and go and teach my fitness classes. I can go to the gym in them. I can wear them to the pub if I go out for a meal with my family. There's nothing that they can't really do. And I think the world is changing when it comes to norms like that. So if you're looking for a shoe to maybe replace a shoe that you've had for a long time because you are minimalist and you don't like consuming stuff, Bahé's a really good mate, because it's a UK based company. So if you're in the UK, you're not having to get the carbon footprint of getting these shoes delivered from a different country, for example. And yeah, they are sourced from a different country to give full visibility there. And I have explained a lot more of the intricacies of the shoe on a blog post, which I will be able to post. I'm getting my website updated at the moment, but once that's updated, I'll be able to put a blog post on there about these shoes. So yeah, any questions if you are looking to buy some and you have a specific question in mind, do remember the sizing is about a size smaller than you'd imagine. So they don't do half sizes. I'm a 6.5 and I bought a 5. So I tried a 6 on and they were way too big. So just keep that in mind. But in terms of the longevity of the shoe, I highly, highly recommend it. Versatility, stepping comfort, they're all absolutely bang on. I've got a tiny little scratch at the front there from maybe hitting a rock or something like that, but there's hardly any wear on these, and I've been wearing them for everything other than runs basically for the last 6 months.